So I've just got done with a Black Panther DLC, and here I am to give my brutally honest opinion on not just the DLC, but where this game now stands after this DLC, especially considering it was that DLC that a lot of people were heavily relying on. What is now going to happen with the game? Now, you're not going to be seeing any gameplay in the background of this video, because there were so many really good moments that I know the gameplay will go ahead and spoil, so for that reason I'm not going to show it. So instead you'll just be seeing two of my favourite skins so far in this game, because those are really cool. Now, if you are enjoying this DLC, I want you to leave a like on this video right now. I want you to share it with your buddies as well, so we can get as many brutally honest opinions in the comment section below. So that means right now I want you to leave your honest opinion on this DLC as well before I go ahead and give mine. Now, I've also got a really cool sponsor for today's video, so I'm going to roll the ad and then we'll dive into the actual brutally honest opinion right after that. So today's video is sponsored by Frag Pro Shooter, which is a free-to-play shooter game and in fact is one of the best mobile shooter games right now for 2021 without a doubt. The game has over 70 million players and 1 million active players every single day, and thanks to the link in the description below, you can actually get yourself some really exclusive rewards. Now, the aim of the game is to destroy the enemy's bunkers and towers as quickly as possible before they do the same to you. Now, you can go ahead and create your deck and build your own strategy to destroy your opponent's buildings, and there are more than 90 characters to go ahead and collect, and they all have their specific gameplay and powers. Oh, and by the way, there's always new content added to the game, just like these two new characters that have been released, which is Izuna and Ao. Now, add them both into your deck and you will have a 30% increase in damage. Just to give you an idea on their powers as well, Ao slams the ground and sends forward a stone wave that just deals a ton of damage and roots in any enemies that's caught in its path, and then Izuna launches a spirit bird forward which goes through walls and deals heavy damage to all enemies that it basically passes through. Now, there are 3 game modes. You got Payload, where you have to be the first one to safely escort your cart to victory, and the goal is to reach the center of the map with your cart. Then you have the 2v2, which is very self-explanatory. You build a team with one of your friends or a random partner. And then you have Street Frag, which is where you and your opponent only have one building to defend. Now, like I said, there are 3 rewards to you thanks to the link in the description below, so click it, join this game right now. You will get exclusive rewards, a ton of free stuff, and it's even there for people who already have the game already installed. So what you will actually get is 1 golden chest, 500 coins, 50 diamonds, and all of that stuff is worth $6. So if you want to get all of that stuff, check the link in the description below and download Frag Pro Shooter right now, because you are missing out if you don't have it already. Okay, so this War for Wakanda expansion is something that we have been waiting for almost a year, right? A solid 12 months almost is basically all boiled down to right now, today, right? The Black Panther DLC is out. It was a very big expansion in terms of like what a lot of people were expecting versus what they actually got, and right off the bat, what I do really want to say is this honestly felt like playing a complete different game. I've never really experienced an expansion in terms of like a DLC in any other video game. Now, I don't know if any other video games do have something that feel like this, but in terms of the element that this is a free DLC, I think we got way more than we could have possibly have asked for, if I'm completely honest. Now, when I stepped into the DLC, one thing that I will say is it does take you away. Once you're in that Wakanda area, it's just like, wow, this is it, right? This is where everything goes down. When I start getting into the combat as well and throughout the missions, Black Panther just really stood out with the combat and is easily now my go-to character. Like I said, it genuinely does blow my mind that this was a free DLC. I would have happily paid like $20 for this DLC, if not maybe even like $25-30 for it, because like I said, it really felt like a brand new game, which is just completely insane to me. It's literally the biggest expansion that this game has ever got. Now, equally, with it being the biggest expansion for the game in general, where do we go after this? Now, before I touch upon that, I just want to talk about a few more things that really stood out to me. Now, I've played the Hawkeye DLC, and I've played Kate Bishop's DLC, and sure, they were good DLCs, but the characters to me weren't as interested, in the sense of, like, I guess it comes down to more of a personal preference, but those characters never really sat anywhere with me, right? So when it came down to having T'Challa and this whole DLC, it's like, wow, like, this is a character that I'm genuinely a fan of, and this is where, you know, it's going to boil down not just from the combat and the gameplay experience, but right down to the whole story element of the game. And I've got to say, like, the level of detail throughout the storytelling of this expansion was just flawless. You really get to know T'Challa, you really get to feel your character in the sense of, like, you are that character, right? So again, like, it's all about making sure there's that connection with the player and the character you're playing, and to kind of get an idea of his story and what's actually going down at that moment in time in a video game, or the story in general. And honestly, they hit the nail on the head with this. When it came down to the combat, that was just insane. That genuinely was insane. Like, my go-to move every single time right now that I am absolutely just, I'm at this point just only using that almost 9 times out of 10, just that option when you can just pounce on an enemy and you're literally just clawing them as you're on top. Like, that to me was insane. Like, the fact that you can just stop as well and it's not all automated, again, just really made you feel like that character. And to make that connection with a, you know, the person on the other side of the screen and the character in the game is not easy to pull off, and they've done a great job. Then the variety in costumes. So like I said, costume, skins, whatever you want to call them, I've got 2 of my favorites that I put right now in the background throughout this entire video, but there are so many more as well, and it genuinely came down to a situation where I ended up spending a little bit of actual real cash, so I went down the whole microtransaction route and just only got like an extra 2 or 3 suits. I just basically bought a pack of credits ultimately, but that being said, there were really enough of them to draw me in. Like, we haven't got, you know, that same scenario where it's just, you know, recolor after recolor. There are so many skins that you can get in this game, for, well, specifically for this character, but equally the challenge cards as well. And I haven't even got any of those yet, but again, it's something to work towards. Now, like I said, overall, it felt like a brand new game, and it's really brought Marvel's Avengers back to where it initially should have been. Had they have released Marvel's Avengers with this Wakanda expansion, if the sky was blue and the grass was green, as they would say, I reckon the game from the beginning would have been a very big hit, because everything was flawless. I mean, sure, there were a few small, like, glitches that I was experiencing, i.e. most times just, I guess, lagging. I'm on PlayStation 4 still. I don't unfortunately have a PlayStation 5 yet, so I don't know if that's more of a console thing, but again, it's something so small that you can overlook, and it really didn't change my gameplay experience at all. Everything else was smooth, but again, just trying to be transparent in terms of, like, the whole, you know, delivery of the expansion itself. Now, like I said, I think moving forward, this has definitely rekindled a ton of players, because it really shows what the team are capable of. So I want to say bravo to the team for pulling this off, because it could have not been easy, and now I understand why it's been in development for such a long time, and I definitely now know that the reason for them actually going ahead and delaying it was definitely a good choice to make, because again, had it have been, you know, a little bit smaller in terms of, you know, the content was cut short, or some things were just overlooked simply based on, you know, how long they had to make the DLC, then it definitely would have negatively impacted this expansion. So the fact that we got the delay in general has actually done really well, in my opinion, because everything is flawless. So moving forward, if they can now go ahead and keep this level up in terms of the quality of every sort of expansion, not expansion necessarily to say as a one thing, you know, to make this game stay active, but I'd say more content in general, because so far the content for this expansion is a ton of fun. And again, I don't want to go ahead and spoil too many things, but if you are someone who hasn't played this game and you do genuinely go ahead and want to say, hey, you know, now's the time, I'm just going to go ahead and purchase the game and see what the expansion is about, you will not be disappointed. In fact, I've done a poll on my community tab and loads of you guys, if not thousands of you, have basically said that this DLC has actually gone way above your expectations, because again, I knew it was going to be such a big DLC, but what we expect versus what we got, again, there's that fine level of where you almost just couldn't expect what we got, right? So when it comes down to the next expansion, which we know is going to be the Spider-Man expansion, I genuinely am not worried one bit about that. I think if they can pull it off like they've done this one, then it's just going to be absolutely flawless. But I want you guys to leave your thoughts on this stuff in the comments below. What do you think? Like I said, let's share this video to as many places as possible so we can get as many brutally honest opinions in the comment section below. And when I say my brutally honest opinion, like I said, it's just me saying, you know, there really isn't anything negative with this. That's just me being honest, because 9 times out of 10, I always prefer to be transparent about something. And as much as I'm trying to be transparent, I genuinely, from my own experience, couldn't actually point out anything that really just, I guess, stood out to me, right? But again, leave your thoughts on that in the comment section below, on maybe if there was something that negatively stood out to you. But like I said, to me, there wasn't. So my honest, brutal opinion is that this is possibly the best content we may ever get for this game in terms of, you know, the level of quality. But now it's just a matter of basically maintaining that level, I guess you could say. But guys, I'll see you in the next one. Till then, have yourselves a ridiculously amazing day, and adios amigos.